So last screencast out of the Module 1 wrap-up is for number 17 that several teams missed, and I'm sure many more individuals missed. Here we're thinking about Carl, and he's dividing his time between making birdhouses and growing artichokes. Carl's friend recently gave Carl some new woodworking tools that greatly reduced the amount of time it takes for Carl to make each birdhouse. In other words, it increased the number of birdhouses per unit of time he could make. But the new tool had no impact on the amount of time it takes Carl to grow artichokes. Thus, the new tools either increased, decreased, and could we say it cut in half, had no effect on Carl's opportunity cost of growing artichokes. Well, knowing there's a lot of ways to go about this. One way, if your intuition is strong, just to think through, we know the opportunity cost is the amount of birdhouses that Carl has to give up to grow artichokes, and if the birdhouses he's able to make with any unit of time goes up, well, that what Carl has to give up to go grow artichokes goes up, and that gets you to answer D. D is correct. I'm done. And that's all you need to do. There are ways to be sure of this answer that involve the technical mastery of the subject, which is good too. Another way to do it is just to make up an example. Let's think originally. Just make up an easy example. Let's say 2 hours per birdhouse and 1 hour time in for every artichoke grown. And then we know that the opportunity cost of an artichoke is the unit labor coefficient for the artichoke over the unit labor coefficient for the birdhouse. And we can do the unit check to make sure we have it right, because it's pretty easy to get the wrong unit labor coefficient in the numerator and in the denominator. We always either have the right answer or the reciprocal of the right answer, and the unit check tells you which. Anyway, by this logic, this would be 1 over 2, and let's just do the unit check. Hours per artichoke and hours per birdhouse. Well, those hours cancel out in the way we knew they did before, 1 over hour, 1 over the hour. We're going to tidy that up, get those birdhouses out of the denominator. And lo and behold, this is 1/2 of birdhouse per artichoke. That's what we give up over what we get. That's right. Well, now let's just say these woodworking tools mean he can make a birdhouse in only 1 hour. Notice I'm picking my numbers really to make this an easy problem. And that's good, right? We want things to be easy. And here, the new opportunity cost of an artichoke would be 1 birdhouse over artichoke. And notice that opportunity cost has gone from 1/2 to 1. It's increased. Again, we get answer D. And finally, there's another way. You will see that we're going to be working with this stuff a lot in the production possibility framework. And if we thought of Carl having 10 hours per day to put into either birdhouses or artichoke growing, and let's suppose there's this daily relationship. Obviously, artichokes take longer to grow, but let's say originally he could make 5 birdhouses in that 10 hours, or his labor would contribute toward eventually having 10 artichokes per hour. 1 per hour he spends. He's got a 10-hour day. His production possibilities would be here. The nice production possibility curve or production possibility frontier. The nice thing about this framework is that the slope, notice it's negative 1/2, the absolute value of the slope of the production possibility frontier gives you the opportunity cost of the good on the x-axis. Now in the real world, these production possibility frontiers would never have a constant slope, but in these simplified problems, since the relationship between time in and output out is always constant, we get these straight line production possibility frontiers. Well, what happens to this production possibility frontier when Carl gets so much better at making birdhouses because of all these new capital goods? Let's write the new situation in blue. Notice following the example above, when he gets so much better, it only takes him an hour to make a birdhouse with the tools. Suddenly his production possibility frontier shifts out. So this is the new production possibility curve. And notice that the slope is now an absolute value. It's 1. The slope is negative 1 birdhouses per artichoke. Remember, rise over run. And so again, we get to answer D. So there's 3 ways to get to answer D. They all work. Sometimes you can start talking yourself in circles about the intuition, so having a technical way to solve it is sometimes useful.